All right, folks, we are live. So, let's get started. This is our 10th video in our playthrough of Torment, Tides of Numenera. So, let's jump right in. Glowing green icon next to the name of a skill indicates that it has been boosted beyond the specialized training level. This can only be done by equipping items or gaining abilities. We have seen that tooltip before. So, last we left off, we had been speaking, I should say, to start, to Peli, a representative of, as it says in our journals, Vargellan agent of the slave families. And I believe she represents the city as well, but I'm not entirely sure. That kind of is discordant from what I understand about her. However, these are the sticha, and the sticha are this insectoid race. They are sentient, and they dig. So, we explained that last time in a little bit of detail, but essentially, she wanted us to go deep down into their lair and get their eggs to use them as a bargaining chip. And the purpose of that is to get them to stop digging under the city, because some of the city collapses on a regular basis into the sea. And this is a problem, obviously. So, Peli, we also learned about Peli that she may want to sell the eggs. So that's a bit of a kink in the plans. I'm not really interested in whatever plans she has to sell them. So, but she doesn't know that we know that. So we got the eggs by going to the foreman, and they created this. We found this dead Stichus over here with this collapsed, that had this tunnel collapsed on it. And we determined that it had collapsed it intentionally. Probably to safeguard the lair, but that's just me guessing. So we went to the foreman because Peli recommended that we get some kind of digging machine or something. So we went to the builders that are down here, the foreman, the master foreman, and we asked him to help us.
Creation at our fingertips, and yet we stand still.
Yeah, we'll get there, Calisteg. So he said that if we had a dead body of a Stichus, that we could use that to build a machine, an automaton in this case, to dig. And, well, we had already found one. So we had them build this automaton. We went down the tunnel, and we got to the Stichus lair, and we found their eggs. And we were able to collect all the eggs without much of a fight breaking out. There were these statues down there that enthralled them, essentially, and we were able to run, split in 3 ways, because there was 3 sets of eggs, grab the eggs, and get out. Calisteg was knocked unconscious at the end, but everyone else survived, and when we've discovered, as...
I have my sisters to keep me occupied.
Yes, thanks, Calisteg. So she fell, and we learned, because this was the first character party death or knocked unconscious. I'm not entirely sure what technically what happened. I guess not dead, because she did come back. When the combat is over, they come back. So that's convenient to know. So at this point, I'm thinking that we go and we speak with Chikekt first. I want to see if we can negotiate with him, because I don't really trust Peli. It sounds like she has ulterior motives, and so we are going to speak to Chikekt instead. Though its manner indicates an incandescent rage, Chikekt draws itself into a deliberately non-threatening posture. Chikekt smell eggs. Human not hurt eggs. What you want? So, I have come to ask you to stop digging underneath the city. We've asked this several times, and every time he repeats the answer, no. And we can use intimidation. If you don't stop digging under the city, I promise you pain. A little cruel, but it is a negotiation. We are essentially holding the eggs hostage. It's a fairly cruel thing to do, but people are dying, so we got to do something about it. I wasn't sure what options we would have, and it didn't appear that we had any other options when we went down there. So we took the eggs. And then the rest here are unrelated to that. So I've come to ask you to stop digging underneath the city. Say before no where we go. So that hasn't changed. I'll give your eggs back. Okay, so our response has changed. I don't want them to go to Palai because I don't want her to sell them, because I don't think that's the right thing to do. The sticha stops moving for a moment. Strong argument. What else? So, if you don't stop digging, you will suffer. Once again, I don't like that. Retry cost. So that's interesting. There wasn't a skill check with this, but we have a new type of kind of challenge here. I haven't encountered this yet. So a new mechanic, essentially. So a retry cost, which is 1 intellect in persuasion. I've given all the reasons I need. If you don't stop digging, your people have no future in this city. I mean, I guess so. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm telling the truth, but I do need to play a bit of hardball here. So we will, if we, and I think I'm going to be resting soon. So we'll go ahead, make sure that we're successful. I want to finish this up and stop the city from collapsing. It considers your words for a time. The scents that surround it vary from the frightening to the mundane. At last, the smell of synth and strong glass waft past your nose, and Chikekt says, "Human give good reason. Yes, sticha comply." Very good. It scratches the wall and drums a pattern there. "Sticha, move deeper. Burrow to lesser rock. Starve for human's sake. Not fight with humans is better." The stichus gently collects the eggs from you, tucking them away in a deep alcove in the rock nearby. "Now go, human. Leave tunnels." So, we solved the problem, and we did it by taking their eggs and giving them back, and we didn't allow Palai to interfere. And we knew that she would have liked to interfere and do something of her own with the eggs because of our scan thoughts ability. This one right here, which I'm very happy we picked up. So, now we go talk to Palai. She'll be happy that we were successful, but she's probably not going to be happy that we gave the eggs and back to Chikekt without talking to her first. But we'll see. I hope you have news for me. I have news about the sticha. We'll get right to the point. Good news, I trust. I've handled the negotiations with the sticha. She lifts 1 foot to begin pacing, to start considering her options, and she stops. She slowly turns towards you, each eye rotating separately. She lowers her foot and turns to face you squarely and bites off each word. "What did you do?" "I used their eggs as leverage and convinced them to dig deeper underground where they won't threaten the city. They agreed, so I gave the eggs back. I misspoke. I'm still working on it. Farewell." Well, we will tell her. We don't have an option to lie or just say, "Well, I handle it. Don't worry about it. They're not gonna be an issue anymore." So we'll just have to say number 1, I guess. "You did what?" Her crest trills and flutters in outrage. "What have you done? Do you realize that we have no way to enforce your agreement? They could come back at any time. Any time!" She throws her fists at the roof of the underbelly in frustration.
I'll remember that.
She stops, a thought striking her. "Did you promise them anything else?" "No, I did not." "Good. Then our work here is complete, and I can return to Council Tower." You acquired a bonded item. So this is our first bonded item. These pieces of equipment are powerful Numenera artifacts that go in the bonded equipment slots in the inventory screen. When equipped, they fuse directly into your skeleton, nervous system, or organs, providing significant positive effects, but their invasive nature can also produce negative effects. You can equip up to 2 bonded items at once. If your concentration skill is at the novice level, both items inflict their negative effects. If trained, you ignore the negative effect from the first item. If specialized, you shrug off all negative effects from bonded items. If your skill level is inability, one of your bonded slots is locked until you improve the concentration skill. So we do. She hands you a pouch. The city of Sagus Cliffs owes you its gratitude. 150 shins. Good. We need the money. And ebon eyes. And we will check those out. I'll credit you in my report to the council. So, understandably, she was upset, but I preferred to negotiate that on my own. I'm not sure if that's the real reason that she was upset, that she's worried that they won't hold to their bargain, or if it's related to her thoughts earlier. And if we hadn't detected that, I would have been more than happy to work with her, but I didn't trust her after figuring out what she was thinking in her mind. So let's check out this bonded item. So, +1 training level in perception skill. That seems very useful, and I really like perception skills. I like getting more information about my environment, so that makes me pretty happy. And the negative effect is -1 training level in stealth skill. So that's interesting that your perception would go up, but your stealth would go down. But we have concentration. So 1 level in concentration. So every equipped bonded artifact confers, so we are trained, so we don't have inability. Trained is bonded artifacts equipped to the first slot do not confer a negative effect. So we will be able to equip this bonded artifact, and we will not incur a negative effect. And I do really like the idea of increasing our perception, because it's only come into play a little bit, but I'm hoping that it comes into play a little bit more as we go throughout the game. Okay, so if we look at our character sheet, so yes, that brings up our perception, and because we were already trained in it, and now we are specialized. So unlocks conversational options and +15% bonus level on difficult tasks marked with this skill. Inability confers that we don't have inability. So great, that's exciting, and we don't get the penalty. So that's great. And we also got a little bit of money. So we might go back to Prada, buy some of those ciphers, because some of those ciphers were really good. It'll essentially do the same as taking a rest when you're in a dungeon or some kind of place where you can't go. Now, they are still here. I wonder what happens if they leave when we leave. Jakek's voice warbles and thrums. Egg thief, you give back children, is good. Okay, so the way he feels about us, we were the egg thief, and we did kind of blackmail him, but likes that we gave them back, was thankful for that. It is impassive, but the scent of an ancient inedible fungus fills the air, reminding you of repressed anger. We go soon. Can you take me someplace under the city? We're not going to worry about that, because the other thing we learned about this automaton is that apparently it can take us different places in the city. So I would really like to come down and explore that a little bit, because I think that I don't know if it's going to take us to mundane places, like it's just another way of transport, which would be kind of dull, but I feel like it's going to take us to some secret places, because of course you're emerging from underground. So yes, we'll come back and we'll check it out. So let's go ahead and climb up. And I do know... Oh, look, we leveled up. That's great. We'll do that maybe before we rest. So, I know that we can have up to 4 party members. So, I'm wondering if we... There was one guy that was over on the... I think it's... If up is north. Over on the east side, east of Caravanserai, that looked like he might be a candidate to be a party member. I'm just guessing, but I wouldn't mind getting a 4th party member, but it might be more appropriate just to wait until someone presents themselves. So we'll play it by ear a little bit, but I'm kind of eager to maybe get a 4th party member in, both for, I think our inventory is going to start filling up a little bit more. Mine is certainly filling up, and and have more abilities in combat. I'm not sure how it scales combat. I'm sure that it does, but I'm not entirely sure how that system works. So we are going to go to Prada. I don't want to go around this way. I don't want to trigger any quests that are down here quite yet, because I don't want to get overloaded with a bunch of side quests yet. I want to kind of take them on systematically, and I know that there are some quests over here, but I don't remember if they trigger automatically. So Prada, she was this kind of half human, half insectoid being, and apparently has kind of like mandibles kind of trying to break out of her skin, which seems very strange. So, oh, hello, here to shop or just to chat, she gasps. Or both. I've never visited this city before. Actually, we have been here before, but let's see if she, let's talk to her a little bit, see if she has anything else to tell us about it. No, she laughs, and it sounds like a cloud of insects taking flight. I'll do better than that. Tell me anything about this place that worries you, and I'll make it better. That's a guarantee. We do love to help, don't we, Rounda? So that's interesting, because last time we scanned her thoughts and she spoke to someone else in her thoughts, it was Birdie, I think. Birdie. So it was a different being. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's any creatures or anything around here that she's communicating with telepathically. So, are there any dangerous areas I should avoid? What part of the city should I see first? I'm still finding my way. Think I could get a discount. I'm gonna go. That's probably no. On second thought, I'll find my own way. Let's see. Are there any dangerous areas I should avoid? Not at all, Prada says, waving her claws at you. I heard so many rumors about how the underbelly was ruled by vicious thugs, but when I went down there to make a trade, no one so much as glared at me. She hesitates. Of course, they were probably worried I was going to snip their heads off, but the underbelly is fascinating and worth the risk. Most everywhere is. Do you? Tibur says, leaning over to look at her shrouded hands. Snip heads off, I mean. Don't seem the type. I might be, Prada says brightly. I've never had to find out. He leans back out of snipping range with a fixed, polite smile. So, I figured she might say the underbelly. We have been, I believe, everywhere in the city, and there doesn't appear to be any particularly dangerous places in terms of just, constantly being under threat of attack or anything like that. There was some mentions of problems when we went out to the east side. They were talking about a creature, and maybe we'll go check that out soon. So what part of the city should I see first? All of them. Take it from me. Everything is worth seeing, even the boring bits. Take your time, talk to everyone you meet, and keep your eyes open. Well, we kind of do that, so that's good that we're already taking that advice. So, I'm going to, well, let's see if I can get a discount. So, I'm still finding my way. Think I could get a discount on your goods. Well, she says, looking momentarily uncertain. It's like watching a lone cloud passing across a summer sky. You know what? I'll give you a discount on everything I carry from now until the last star in the sky collapses. Or, one of us dies. Can't do a thing about that. She laughs again, clearly unworried by the prospect. Okay, let's talk about something else. It sounds like she'll give us a discount, which is great. Absolutely, she says. Something whirs beneath her cloak, and she swats playfully at it. So, I want to use that discount. Let's see. It worked, because this was, I believe, 98. So, I am definitely going to get this. And this one here was the next time this character is reduced to 50% less health or any stat pool automatically refill health in all stat pools. Okay, I wonder how long that's active for, because that sounds like a really, really good ability. It's kind of like a consistent heal, but you do need... Okay, well, you would be using your stat pools. You could use it in an intensive situation where you don't really have many opportunities to rest. And so far, we haven't... it doesn't appear that there are many places or opportunities to rest. We've only seen the one. So it might be worth doing stuff like that. Now, we are at 4 to 5 in terms of our cipher limit. We have 200 shins. I don't think we're going to get... This is just a... That is a cipher. Interesting. Deals 20 chemical damage and confers bleeding. 4 physical damage per turn. That is quite a bit of damage. A lot more than these ciphers. And these were early game ciphers, so they probably don't do as much damage. This one does 15. That was the one that we just bought, though. So that is a lot of damage. I tend to go for healing stuff. Sorry, hit my mic there. I tend to go for healing stuff. It's hard not to to want to replenish those resources. This one here will heal 10 points of health on all allies in range of target point. This one deals a lot of damage and confers bleeding 4 physical damage per turn. That could take down some people pretty quickly after doing 20 damage. But I would love to save this for a big, beefy enemy, for sure. If we get it. That's 78. That one here, this is just a debuff, so minus 30 evasion. So that would make someone like Tybir more effective. He uses his weapon, and that is protected against by evasion. And there's a mass heal, and then this one here, it does seem pretty good. If you were, and it is what, 74? So we'd be at 126. Okay, well, let's go ahead. We're going to buy it. You know, money doesn't help us in fights. So that's all of our ciphers. So any more that we get are going to be... Ugh, I want to buy this one too. It is really good. You know what? I'm going to buy it.
These ciphers are killing me.
Receive a cipher, sickness fettle. The strange forces emanate from ciphers cause unpredictable to always harmful effects when they interact. To reduce or eliminate cipher sickness, use some of your ciphers, sell them to a merchant, or give them to another party member, which was my plan. So let's do that. I think that we will give this to Callistag, and I'm wondering if we should give, for instance, this might be good. What's the range on this root spike? Because Tybir, you can have one cipher, and I feel like, right now I have all of them, and the action economy is such that, it doesn't make much sense for me to have that many, because I have to use up, it takes a long time to get around to my turn in some fights. So I want to maybe spread it around a little bit. So maybe we give one of these to... I'm going to give this one to Tybir, the kind of grenade one that we have. The root, we could give it to Callistag. We did give her this one here, the dart. What's the range on that? The range is medium, and her weapon, I think, is short. No, it's medium as well. Okay, so we'll leave that with her. It's good to spread them out a little bit so that we have some options. So this one here is allies. That refills everyone. This is a mass heal of all of our resources. It refills health, might, speed, and intellect for all party members. That is a very powerful cipher. So this is a Hail Mary, for lack of a better term. And the contingent subroutine, it just targets ourself. So if we are ever running low, then we can use that in a dungeon to help ourselves out. Okay, I think that's it for Prada.
Yes.
It's a little unfortunate. I do need to rest. It's a little unfortunate that Callistag still has so much of her intellect left. Because... Wait, is this the... No, I don't want to go there. I want to go to...
Sure enough.
Caravanserai instead. And we will level up when we get there. Right before we rest.
On it.
So, pretty happy with those cipher purchases. I do like to buy more permanent items that you don't use up when I get the chance, but these ciphers, as we get into what it seems like a little bit more fight, and it's not even just fights that you need them for, definitely when you're talking about the losing your health, but in terms of when you go into a dungeon or any area or anything like that, then I'm finding, just skill challenges are draining our resources quite significantly. It's not, of course, just fights that are doing that. Is there a problem?
All right.
There we go. Okay, You can use certain items and abilities even during conversations or when interacting with objects. Keep this in mind when you need a little extra boost to succeed at a task. Yes, so we finally got to see some of that. So I had the question of, are these oddities useful at all? Do they do anything? Because there's no, I mean, some of them obviously, because we have this one here and there's a use item and it does interact with us, this cyclonic cube. But I didn't know if by having these in our inventory, if it would do anything when we tried to accomplish certain things or anything like that. And they did, because we had the magnetic myconoid piece that we got when we were down in the sticha lair, and it helped. I believe that's what gave Callistake helped give her that critical success that she hit. I think, I don't know, but I think, because it did use it when we were down there. And when she got it, it was, I believe she was using might, and that's what refilled, not speed. So I was a little confused about that, but I would have to check back, and I'm not going to do that. So, okay. Not right now, at least. Okay, so we're going to level up, and then we will rest. So let's go ahead and take a look at our characters. We'll do Tibir first, and we'll end with ourselves. He's a cagey jack who knows how to take care of himself. So he's been very helpful, especially with the social encounters and persuasion. These have come in really handy. His persuasion and quick fingers to some extent. So deception, not so much. I tend to not like to lie, so it's a little hard for me to choose deceptive options in games. So, but that, I have to remind myself it's a game. So let's go ahead, level him up. So he is at the end of the first tier, going up to tier 2, which is kind of exciting because we haven't encountered that before. And that means that these have already all been increased, I believe. I believe you choose one at the first, and then you get to, the rest as you go. And as you choose them, you can't choose them again for each of these sections of this first tier. So we are stuck with increasing stat pools. Now, he uses speed a lot, and he has edge on his speed, and that helps with that a lot. But we also don't have any characters that are based on might. So I'm not sure. He has 2 points remaining. Having his intellect at 6 is fine. It's the highest, actually, and it's hard to say what's best. So this will give him more health if we go up to 5. And I mean, our character has 5 might. He'll get more evasion here, and his willpower will go up with intellect. So I don't think we're going to increase his intellect. It's important for him, but it's already his highest stat. So we're actually going to leave it. I am going to increase his speed for sure, because he does use it so much. And I think we'll increase his might, just because he is a jack of all trades. And I want to make sure that he has those resources available. And it gives him a little bit extra hit points. So, tier increase. So like I said, this is the first time that we've gotten to tier 2, and it unlocks an ability. So issue challenge. This is a new ability. Let's bring up the details. He is a novice at it, and it targets enemies in a small area. It's an AoE, which is great. It uses 1 intellect, which of course I did not just upgrade. It's too bad. That's okay. All enemies in range who fail to resist gain compelled dazed. They are forced to attack you and receive negative 15 willpower and negative 15% on attacks. So it is a taunt, which is interesting. Novice. So it's plus 0% on attacks. That's fine. It's defended by willpower, the enemies. Consumes your action, active 3 rounds. It's an attack, and Tibir shouts a series of sharp-tongued remarks on the appearance and parentage of nearby enemies, drawing their full and furious attention. So it's a taunt. It forces enemies to attack Tibir, which could be useful. Having a taunt is useful. He doesn't have a ton of health or anything. I mean, none of us have a ton of health. But it could be good to draw them off of, for instance, myself or Calistig. So we can choose a new ability to learn. So skill with defense, or we can be resourceful. So let's see what each of these are. So skill with defense gives plus 10% evasion and plus 10% willpower. So it's exactly what it says. You're going to be more likely to dodge attacks and more likely to shrug off spell attacks, esoteries. You know how to place your feet, how to angle your shield, and how to deflect your enemy's blows. You dance through combat, and none can lay a finger on you. So it's good to have good defensive skills, and these are, passive bonuses. They are there all the time. And we have resourceful. Gain +1 training level in cipher use skill. Allows you to carry in additional ciphers. You know how to handle your ciphers and how to store them properly. We just gave him a cipher. We don't have a bunch of ciphers, and Calistig still has quite a few slots. So I don't really want to upgrade this yet. I hope I don't regret it later when we get a whole bunch of ciphers that we find. But this is going to come into play all the time. We're definitely going to get a lot of benefit out of having skill with defense. I like the idea of having more ciphers. It's a little more exciting, but these passive bonuses are too good to pass up, I think. That's just my opinion. I did not math that out. So, great. So that's it for leveling up. He has 29 hit points now. Of course, Calistig was knocked unconscious, so, but she did not level up. She is still... She needs 39 XP to get to tier 2, which is exciting. Now, we, of course, when these other characters joined our party, and this was the same with Allegaern, they started at a higher level than us. So we have not gotten up nearly as far as they have. So, but we just leveled up, which is great because we need to. So the last time we leveled up, I think we chose the improved skill. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Select one of the following options to spend your experience points. You can select each option once per tier. So we can increase a stat pool. So our intellect is quite high, and these are each at 5. And our intellect, I believe it was at 9. It's quite high as well. I really want to increase edge. Last time I said this looked like it might be a boring option, and gosh was I wrong. I love every time I see edge coming into play because it just makes me feel so good about not spending resources. So we are going to do that, and since intellect is our main ability and we use it in combat a lot, I definitely want to do that. And a lot of the skill challenges, I want to have that edge in intellect for those skill challenges. So we get to hold on to our resources a little bit longer. So pretty happy. Do I have 9? Yes, I do have 9 in my intellect pool. Okay. So we are halfway to tier 2. So we've got a ways to go. And Calistig is very close. She will be there very soon. So we'll be able to level her up soon as well. And that will be exciting. So, we are going to rest here. And I'm going to take a quick break. And we will be back after we rest. And I'm not sure where we're going to go next. I'm going to think about it, make a decision, and I will let you know when we get back what if I've made a decision, or maybe we'll just walk around and see what we can find. We've done quite a bit of that lately. I remember seeing some stuff that I wanted to check out. So let's go ahead and take a quick break, and we will be back soon. All right, folks, we are back. So, we are going to rest. And so we will speak to Tranquility. Tranquility bows as you enter. Welcome back, friend. You have been missed. So, I think we're going to ask her a few questions, because when we first met her, she seems to compel people to kind of draw them in as part of her business practice, presumably. But there may have been some pheromones involved. So let's see. Are you human? She laughs melodiously. No need for apologies. Given my height, it is a natural question. I am indeed human, a human mutant, and fortunate to live in Sagas Cliffs where that is not a crime. There are very few places in this world where someone like me would even be allowed to clean a hostel, let alone own one. So this is a hostel. Interesting. So, tell me about Tranquility's Rest. She smiles. It is the most peaceful inn in Sagas Cliffs, with the most beautiful views. All rooms face outward so that the bustle of the caravanserai is invisible and inaudible. All you see is sky and sea and the roofs of the city far below you, and all you hear is the breeze. I am the sole owner, and I have been offering solitude, security, and discretion to travelers for 20 years. You will never have as sound a night's sleep as you will when you stay here. Okay. Your perfume seems to contain some kind of pheromones. Are you manipulating me? I mean, I don't know if she's manipulating us, but you're using your tone of voice to calm me. Is that something you learned? Let's ask that. You gain some XP. That's good. Calistic is close to leveling up, so I'll be excited when that happens. She raises her eyebrows. Very few people notice that. Well done. I am indeed manipulating my voice. When I opened this place, I wanted to make it the most relaxing hostel in the Ninth World, and I worked to make every aspect of it soothing, even my voice. She smiles mysteriously. Another talent of mine has been helpful as well. Well, what is that? Could you use your calming abilities to put me into a trance? Well, let's see. She looks bemused. No one has ever asked me something like this before. She shakes her head. As interesting as a proposition as it is, I must refuse for fear of some complication or retaliation for the same. Please, I promise to hold you blameless if anything goes wrong. Aren't you curious to see what will happen? Sure. I wonder if this will be a skill check. Well, that's fine, because we're going to rest. Okay. So, we have that edge now, which is great. It's 75%. His Tibier's base, he can bring us up to 100. I don't know that I want to expend all my resources. It's the same base level for each Calistic and myself, except for Tibier is a little better. And that is because I assume his training in persuasion. Yes. So, why is our level of effort? So that's the edge coming into play, which is why we are higher. So, yeah, I plan to rest, so let's use some resources. See what happens. I'm curious. So we were successful. She hesitates, then nods. Very well. As long as you are willing to absolve me from blame, I will do it. She reaches out to you. Now take my hands and close your eyes. As you take her hands, a scent like baking bread and honey overwhelms you, and she begins to sing a soft but resonant contralto. The melody fills your head, making it heavy with slumber so that your chin drops to your chest. You feel like you're being lowered gently into a warm bath. The water closes over your head, but there is no fear of drowning. You have returned to the womb where all is comforting darkness and the steady pulse of a beating heart. Ooh, let's see what happens. That's interesting. Sometimes failing a task can lead to more interesting results than if you had succeeded. Looks like it might take us into the labyrinth. Yes, it does. Ah, yes. The Spectre. You're looking, a lot more well-rested than you usually do. Something feels odd about this man, but it takes a while for you to put your finger on it. It's his thoughts. They aren't there. Or rather they're there, but they're indistinct, a kind of white noise that blends in too well with the background hush of this place. Are you always here? I found the residence chamber, but it's broken. What should I do now? Your thoughts are fuzzy. Why can't I read them? Do I get back this time? If this is my mind, why don't I remember this place? Is there anything to do while I'm here? Tell me who you are again. or I think I'm ready to go. So your thoughts are fuzzy. Why can't I read them? His voice is dry, but his smile takes some of the sting from his words. I imagine it's because we're in a place of pure thought. I'm a construct of pure thought. And that our conversation is taking place on the level of thoughts. Most things here aren't real. It'd be like reading your own mind. Okay. We will tell him I found the resonance chamber, but it's broken. Yeah, I saw that. I don't see everything you do out there in the world, but I definitely saw that. You have to find a way to fix it. So, what should I do now? With the chamber broken, I'm not sure. We need to find someone who can fix it. That chamber's our only hope. Without it... How do I get back this time? If this is my mind, why don't I remember this place? I mean, I do from the last time, but I guess he's talking about earlier. I told you as much as I know. It's your mind, and that means you're in control. You just need to figure out how to unlock its secrets. I don't know how, but I think the resonance chamber will do that for us. It'll unite us, make us whole again. So, I wonder what he means by that, and if we really want to do that. I don't really actually know anything about this Spectre. I have to assume he's telling the truth for now, but I don't know that for sure. Is there anything to do while I'm here? You mean apart from the cabaret acts, distilleries, and endless adventure just behind the next wrinkle in your mind? He jabs you in the arm with his elbow. Ah, and if you believe that, sorry, but it's your mind. There's nothing like that here. I've looked. Still, you've changed things plenty already. I wouldn't be surprised if something showed up here eventually. So, has anything changed since the last time I was here? He shrugs. Look around. It's your mind. So, are you always here? He shrugs. Where else would I be? So, alright, yeah, makes sense. Fair answer. So, how do I get back this time? The portal's still there. I don't see why it wouldn't work twice. Okay, so I'm ready to go. So, farewell. Says good luck. And so the portal is here.
Alright.
But I want to see if there's anything new. The swirling depth, flicker with mysteries and powers you cannot define. So that's the same as before. This is the mirror that we had broken through. The sorrow shattered the mirror leading back to the dark fathom. Glass shards hiss when you touch them. I wish that I could take some. So I don't see anything else. Let's check in the map. I don't see anything. Oh, well, is that a hard... Looks a little graphically weird. Yeah, it looks like it's a hard limit. It's not like a fog of war thing. So it doesn't...
Right.
I don't see anything here else to do. There's nothing to interact with, nothing to view. We talked to the Spectre, so we're going to leave. But I think what this means is that we're going to be able to, when we want to, speak to Tranquility, and she can bring us here. And this place will, I believe, change over time, and there's going to be more to do here and more things to discover and see.
Yes.
So I'm glad that we discovered this,
Right.
because we haven't been back since the beginning of the game. Okay, let's see if she has anything to say. Tranquility bows as you enter. Welcome back, friend. You have been missed. Though there doesn't appear to be anything that she reacts to for putting us in a trance. Can you put me into a trance again? So we can do that again. So it seems like that's going to be the way to visit the inside of our mind. And the sorrow did release something in our mind there. So we might have to go back to fight it, to investigate it, to discover what we want to do about that. So, I'd like a room for the night. I think we're done speaking with Tranquility. So, 20 shins. Well, Tranquility spells. On second thought, I'll rest later. Let's talk about something. Never mind, do I not have 60 shins? I only have 48 shins. Oh, no.
Alright.
I spent too much money. Is there a shop where I could sell something? I feel a little bad selling something. We could just go look for money, too. So, well... You know what we're going to do? We will come back and rest later. I thought we had enough money, but I forgot that we spent a bunch. So, let's head down here. Because there seemed to be a problem going on down here. And who else was it that we could talk to about the resonance chamber? Doesn't matter. We'll get to that later. So this guy here, I thought it seemed like he might be a party member. And then down here, hearing strange noises from the midden. In terms of other quests, we don't have anything else other than our main quest and the one about the book that Felinda had talked to us about. As a member of the council, I assure you, the creature will be found. So, let's go ahead and speak to Lord Vuntgen. Codex entry unlocked. Slave families. Lord Vuntgen. Declaiming to the crowd is a well-dressed but sickly-looking man, short, dumpy, and an unhealthy shade of yellow. Despite this, he has the proud demeanor and stentorian voice of a much larger man. He booms as you approach. Ah, another likely fellow. Excellent. The people have called for deliverance from this ravaging Stichus, and a hero has answered. Most courageous of you. Maybe this is referring to the problems with the Stichus that we were having earlier, but I'm not sure. You are all heroes who stand up in the face of conflict. Okay, so he seems genuine. His thoughts reflect what he's saying.
Making a note.
He frowns as he gets a better look at you. Wait, I know you. You're the one who made peace with the Sticha. Commendable, but I'm afraid one of your new friends didn't hear about the end of hostilities. It's running rogue here in Cliff's Edge. He looks uneasily at the crowd. If these people get a hold of it, things might go badly, and all your work will have been for nothing. Best if you were to find it first, then return and tell me precisely where it is. I'll take it from there. He pats you on the shoulder. And you'll be rewarded, I promise you. As the head of a slave family, I'll owe you a favor, and my favor carries a good deal of weight. So, this seems to be related to... So we hadn't spoken... We saw this happening going on earlier, and we didn't speak to them. But after dealing with the Stichus underneath the city, that has affected how this quest has played out. So, can I ask you about the Stichus? I mean, we know quite a bit about the Stichus. Well, there's probably more to know. So, we'll see a little bit about what he has to say. Can you ask me about the Stichus and their kind? You made peace with them. Surely you know them better than I do. As I thought. He shrugs. But I'll offer my perspective, if you like. So, can you tell me about the rogue Stichus that you're looking for? He shudders. The vile thing appeared in Cliff's Edge a few days ago, and it's been skulking around ever since. The whole neighborhood lives in fear of it. They should be afraid. I make sure of it. Okay, so he is fomenting hostilities between, or maybe he believes there's a good reason to be afraid of it because maybe it's dangerous. So he may be trying to do that to keep them safe. I don't know exactly, but it sounds like he's fomenting conflict, and maybe that's to his advantage, or maybe he is just trying to be realistic about how they should feel. So, why is Cliff's Edge so afraid of this Stichus? How did the Sticha come to be in Sagas Cliffs? We kind of pursued that before, and even the Sticha didn't know. So, let's ask, why is Cliff's Edge so afraid of this Stichus? Some will tell you it's because this district has suffered the most from the Stich's digging. Houses collapsing on people, others falling into the sea. There's some truth to that. But the real reason is that people here become weak and afraid. They aren't prepared to face adversity. He leans in, warming to his subject. Indeed, if the Sticha didn't exist, I would be tempted to invent them, for they are just what the city needs to stiffen its spine. Sagas Cliffs, our once proud empire, has abandoned its holding and ceded its territories to autochthonous tribes, and wild beasts. It's time to take them back, but how can we do that when our citizens have become lazy, timid children? And he thinks, they are the perfect opportunity. The weak will become stronger. So it sounds like he's fomenting this fear to unite people, you know, having a common enemy. So I don't think that's the right way to do things, but it can be effective. It can work. You're right. Without a conflict, people grow complacent. Active threats keep them on guard. But empires only serve the interests of a lucky few. Most people suffer and gain little in return. The people aren't weak. They only need someone to lead them and inspire them towards a common goal. Sagas Glyphs had an empire. I have other questions about the sticha. So, sure. Sagas Glyphs had an empire? Indeed. We held all the lands from here to Ornu's Unugran. That was before the slave uprising that brought the slave families to power. Some of us seek to reclaim what we lost. That brought the slave families to power. Okay, so the slave families may have been the revolting slaves. I wasn't sure what it was referring to. I think now that makes sense about Palai being representative of the slave families, because if it was a revolt and they kind of took over, the governing aspect of Sagas Cliffs, then that may be what it's referring to. So essentially you have a kind of governing body that's made up of, so maybe it's kind of like a oligarchy, plutocracy, whatever. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure exactly how the political structure of this city functions. So, to live in that age. Sagas advanced so quickly back then when they had slaves, that's an unfortunate situation to be in. So, I don't, without conflict, people grow complacent. I don't really think that's necessarily true. It can be true, but I don't think it's necessarily true. So I'm not going to say that, I don't think. But empires only serve the interests of a lucky few. Most people suffer and gain little in return. That's generally true. People aren't weak. They only need someone to lead them, to inspire them towards a common goal. And he may just say that's what he's doing. So sure, I don't think the people here are weak, necessarily. Our Indigo Tide and Silver Tide both raised. Small and tiny amount. And we gain 2 XP. He says, and when that leader is gone, the city will fall back into apathy. No, an enemy is what this city needs. In strife, we discover our finest selves. So it has always been. It's true that strife can bring out the best in, or can bring out the, innovation and the best in people to deal with it. But I don't think it's necessary. So, I have other questions about the sticha. Go on then. Tell me again what the Stichas has been terrorizing. No, tell me again why the people in Cliff's Edge are afraid. How did the Sticha come to be in Sagas Cliffs? Several members of the council believe that it's the work of our enemies, that their eggs were brought here from another world. An act of vengeance or sabotage, perhaps. Others think that the eggs were always here and took them centuries to hatch. The Sticha themselves, when we spoke with Chikekt, he said that they came from another world. Now, I don't know if that's because that's what he's been told, or if indeed that's what happened. But I'm going to... And he did say that they were brought over from another world, so that it's possible that it was done as a type of sabotage. It could be any number of reasons. It could be kind of like an invasive species. And I don't like just calling them invasive species. They're different, but they are sentient. So he shrugs. But how doesn't matter to me. They're here, and they're dangerous, and it's up to every true citizen of Sagas Cliffs to resist them. I suspect the Dream Seekers working on a larger scale than I can alone. Working on a larger scale than I can alone. Okay, so he thinks that the Dream Seekers, I think, sabotaged, brought them here. Brought here from another world, an act of vengeance or sabotage. Others think that they were always here, taking them centuries to hatch. So it doesn't sound like they've been here for too long. So, tell me again where this... Okay, I don't think... Let's see if we can ask him something else. Tell me about yourself. I don't want to talk to him about himself right now. Well, maybe. Because, he wants to engender a fear of the Sticha. And I don't necessarily want to go that route. It does sound like they can be dangerous, and there's definitely some hostilities between them and the inhabitants of Sagas Cliffs. But I would rather see a peaceful resolution. He puts a hand to his chest and raises his chins. I'm Jars Vuntken of House Vuntken, one of the most respected of the slave families. I also have the honor of serving on the council. He looks around him uneasily. I don't usually descend into this neighborhood, but in such a crisis, one must put one's finer feelings aside and do what one can for one's city. I love this kind of third-person way that he speaks, it's very pretentious, and he is obviously quite pretentious, doesn't like coming down to the to interact with the common folk. Sounds a little out of touch, so let's keep that in mind when we consider what he wants to do about the conflict between the Sticha and the city, because these conflicts tend to lead to a lot of these types of folks dying and not these types of folks dying. So let's keep that in mind. Who are the slave families? So let's find out, because I don't have a totally clear idea. He puffs up with pride. We are the descendants of the slaves who rose up with Chilla the Great. They smashed the oligarchs who ruled this city and replaced their despotism with fair and egalitarian leadership, creating a city where anyone can achieve anything, if only they try. Okay, so I think that that's it. He didn't really give us any clues about this rogue Sticha, but let's check out our journal. Hidden enemy. A rogue Stichus is lurking in the district of Cliff's Edge. Lord Vunkin has promised a reward to anyone who finds the creature and tells him where it is. So I think we'll see what our options are, but I feel like I would rather, once again, I would rather deal with this ourselves in terms of negotiating with the Sticha, because I don't trust his intentions. I think he's out of touch. I think he's fomenting conflict for, why foment conflict? To inspire people. You can find other ways to inspire people without creating conflict. There is already some conflict there, but it's kind of the Sticha aren't outwardly hostile for no reason. They just pursue their own interests, and unfortunately, those interests somewhat conflict with the cities. So I think that there can be some that we can come to other resolutions, but well, we'll have to continue moving forward to find out. So, search for the rogue Stichus in Cliff's Edge. So, the Stichus is probably hiding someplace out of the way, or the people of Cliff's Edge would have found it by now. So, there were some, I don't know if it must be somewhere in the area of Cliff's Edge. It does seem to specifically mention it. But there's a crashed airship over here. We haven't really done anything over there, and there were some buildings over here that mention being essentially abandoned, but there's people sleeping in them, so I don't know if it's over there, because it sounds like there are people that are over there. So let's start looking around. So this here, airships, so this was the crashed airship. Airships are known to be nearly uncrashable due to their leisurely cruising speeds and simplified controls. This crash must have taken a rather unique confluence of events to occur. So this must be the pilot. I don't think that's related to what we're doing now, so we will visit that at a later time. Ooh, this is interesting. We did not really explore down this way. Look at this building. I love it. That's really great. So let's see. We've got this this building here with these seem to be some sorts of pistons, and this entrance is great. And remember, when we were in the Order of Truth, it was talking, one of the researchers' desks had a bunch of notes about doors, and I'm wondering how much it really means in terms of the game, but I am definitely looking at doors, and this is a great door. I really love it. You've got these faces here. It's a little hard to see all the details. This here, I can't really recognize where the mouth on this face is, but we've obviously got the eyes here. This face here is a profile, and then this one here is like a cyclops, I think, because there's the nose and the mouth. And this is another kind of semi-profile over here, and then we've got this guy over here. These are definitely teeth. And there's the nose, and this is just a great mural that is over top. And we've got this looks to be some kind of metal. It might be synth. I'm not really sure how to identify synth by looking at it, but great door. What is this building? Does it say? The Fifth Eye Tavern. It's a tavern. That's great. That's really great. I wonder what this is. It doesn't appear to be attached to the tavern, but look at the piles of stuff that we have over here. Judging by the tiles, shingles, and bricks that are piled here, these are the remains of collapsed buildings, carefully pushed out of sight. So I think the collapsed buildings from the sticha digging. So I'm not sure if, like, they're piled out of sight. I don't know if they're doing anything with this machine here. Let's see what it says. The continual rise and fall of the pistons on this device suggest a massive mechanical effort. Structural similarities with the pipes in the area hint at them being part of the same machine. So structural similarities with the pipes in the area hint at them being part of the same machine. So there must be other pipes that are around. And I wonder if it says anything on the map about what it is. It doesn't.
Yes.
So this looks like piles of garbage. There's some loot here. Let's hope there's some. Oh, there's the stitches. Money, which we need so that we can rest. I'm going to quick save before we... So there's the stitches. He was not that well hidden, if you ask me. Oh, look, we can see down here. Let's go stand on the edge. Try to get rid of some of this fog of war. So look at these houses that are just... Or this... I guess this whole thing here is a house. I don't know what this part is. That would be very inconvenient to have a rounded floor. So I don't know how that is utilized. What this part of this, if this is just underneath this house part and this is just built on top, I think so. Because this here, these are obviously windows, and this is a type of window. But this doesn't look like it would be a very practical floor, so it looks like it might be a pipe of some kind. Now, I don't know if it continues around and this is much higher, or if it's like some kind of pipe that connects to this or something like that. But I really love the visuals here. You have all this housing and stuff. This facade is all that remains of a house. The rest is collapsed into the sea, hundreds of meters below. So these are the collapsed houses. So this is where they are collapsing because of the sticha that are digging. There's a pipe there. And then down here, we've got far below, you can see a ledge jutting out from the cliff face. A collapsed tunnel appears to have been once used to access the strange objects cradled in the corner. I wonder what those are, and I want to go get them. I don't know that we can, though. We have some people over here. Medelia Glittering, townsperson. Let's see if the map says anything. Okay, so she's a merchant, looks like. I don't have any money. Well, I need money to rest. We have 70 shins, just enough. That'll be a problem when we get another... So these ones, this guy here doesn't, this building doesn't look collapsed. This one looks partially collapsed. You can see the roof here is breaking. So this is where things are, this is where problems are definitely happening for the city related to the look at this kind of makeshift repairs, and there's a sign. A months-old layer of dust cakes this sign, which reads, "Scour the wise, scholar of the iron wind." So there must have been a building there that is now long gone, fallen into the sea. Okay, so let's go loot over here. And, well, there's our stitches. More money. We need it. Oh, look at that. Eggs. Proportionally speaking, the creature that laid these eggs must be truly formidable. They do look very large. They're not Stitch's eggs because they are obviously created totally differently. This does look like a type of bird's nest, but they must be. I don't know what the scale is. It's hard to tell if it's much higher, but they are obviously huge because if it's about the same level as this, that means that they are almost as large as this Stitch's. So, I think with that, we will take another short break, and we will be back right before we speak to the Stitches. And we are back, folks. So, we are about to speak to the rogue Stitches. Let's see what he has to say.
Making a note.
We can communicate with him differently than the other people of Sagus Cliffs. So let's see if that comes in handy. So, partially hidden in the trash of the dump is a frightened Stitches, though it doesn't look like the other Stitcha you've seen. Its chitin is thin and soft, and its claws are small and malformed. Maybe because it isn't underground. Eating. Who knows? The electricity in the rocks. It stares at you from its hiding place, chittering. Because of its physical deformities, you can barely understand its speech. Don't hurt, not tell. What is the Stitches doing up here? What are you doing in this garbage dump? Are you the Stitches everyone is looking for? Attack the Stitches. So this is quite different than the picture painted by the nobleman that we spoke, Vuntkin, Lord Vuntkin, that we spoke to earlier, kind of describing this very dangerous creature that's been terrorizing the populace, and the people are clearly riled up, but this does not seem in any way to be a creature that is behaving in that manner. So let's see. We'll say, are you the Stitches everyone is looking for? It waves its deformed claw in affirmation. The scent of mud, sadness, wafts from it. Okay, so he told us the truth, I guess. What is the Stitches doing up here? It clicks and scents resolve themselves into words in your head. Tunnel live? Tunnel live. Below. But bad claw, not dig, not eat. No home, stitch a family. And the scent it uses is one of desolation and abandonment, a great void within the earth. Sand above ground to die. Okay, well that's sad. So he has a bad, a deformed claw and can't dig. So because he has a bad claw, he can't dig. So it sounds like he was exiled for not being able to dig. That is fairly cruel, I would say. And it sounds like, as we knew that people on average tend to be afraid of the sticha, but it does not seem as though he is intending to be violent in any way. So, you were sent up here by the other sticha? Why? It holds up its malformed claws. Not good. It presses its shell, which bends like leather. Soft like grub. Not strong. Not dig. Not eat. No worth. Trash. Rubble. Not even Nell Tunnel. I don't know what the Nell Tunnel is. Stitcha dig for food. What do you eat? Well, we know that they eat the electricity, but let's see what he says. It makes a digging motion, dragging its claw against the ground. Then with his other, fans his stubby talons like someone miming a bright flash. Dig make sparks. Eat sparks. Not dig. Not make sparks. Not eek. Eat. Hunger. If you can't make sparks to eat, why haven't you starved to death up here? It points down the alley. Baby brown grub feed. It shows you a heap of small electrical devices, all drained of energy. Spark shells. Spark tubes. It points to itself and smells of flint and steel. Eat. Its scent is gratitude. So, what are you doing in this garbage dump? Sounds like this is where he comes for food, and probably to hide. Yellow shell grub steel. Leave here. It emits fierce scent of rotten air and underwater floods. Not speak. Dangerous. A man with a yellow shell left you in Cliff's Edge. Did you mean a man with yellow skin?
I'll remember that.
Ah, so Lord Vuntkin sounds brought him here or encouraged him to be here, because he is trying to foment the conflict between the Sticha and the humans, and I don't like that. Its odor becomes strong, hard rock mixed with veins of ancient metals. Intense affirmation. So yes, that is who brought him up, the man with the yellow skin, Lord Vuntkin. So, tell me again why you're up here, and I don't want to attack him, so we're going to say for farewell. Safe return. So, it doesn't seem that I have any resolution at this point. If I talk to him, I suspect I just get the same options. Yep, that's right. So, we will leave him. I don't want to tell Lord Vuntkin that he is here, because... Oh, wait. Children?
Making a note.
Hidden enemy. Okay. So, this is related. This is Zeb. This child, apparently. A scrawny boy in rags reaches out to you as you pass. Sir! Please, sir! I know you saw the Stitches hiding in the midden. Please don't tell anyone about him, sir. He's not doing anyone any harm. You saw his hands. They're like human hands. He can't dig like the others. It's not him that's bringing down the houses. So what is this Stitches to you? I won't tell anyone. Your secret is safe with me. People are looking for him. They say he's dangerous. So what is this Stitches to you? We found him, sir, my sisters and I. He was so pitiful. Near to starving. Near to dying. We've been feeding him old devices and power cells ever since. But we've got to get him out of there. The neighbors will find him soon, and that'll be the end of him. He's family, every bit as much as Nim and Avina, so maybe those are pets. So, obviously, these children have bonded with this Sticha, who is clearly, not violent towards the humans here. So, that I already got that from speaking to him, but makes me not want to go along with Lord Vuntgen's plan of using this Sticha to create animosity between the humans and the Sticha. So, you feed him power cells. We already kind of know that. I'm more... Do you have a plan to help him escape? Sounds like the best one. So let's say number 4. People are looking for him. They say he's dangerous. But he's not, sir. I'm telling you. He can't dig. All he wants is to go somewhere safe. So, yeah, that makes sense. And clearly not dangerous. These children, have an affinity for him. So do you have a plan to help him escape? Because I can't imagine that the children would be great at it, but let's see. And we can help if they don't have one. No, sir. We can't just walk him down the street or that fat little lord would see him. Not to mention the neighbors. They'd kill him for sure. So you feed him power cells. Stitch eat electrical energy, and we can't find nearly enough. He's starving. Maybe I can find a way to get him out of here. Gold tide raised. Could you, sir? That would be wonderful. If you can find the other Sticha, maybe they'd help him escape. I heard that some of them are down in the underbelly, but I've never seen them myself. Well, we do know that the other Sticha apparently kicked him out, so I don't know if that's going to work. But we'll give it a go. I'll try. Thank you, he smiles. I had a feeling I could trust you, so we will go ahead. So Nim and Avina. Okay, well, they weren't pets. They were the other children. Okay. So we're going to go down, and we are not going to speak to Lord Vuntgen. Because I do not like what he is doing. Don't appreciate it.
Yes.
We've gotten this tooltip quite a few times now.
Without doubt.
So we will head to the... Oh, we can go to the underbelly from here. Don't have to go through Government Square. Talk to your companions frequently. Yeah, we haven't really been doing that. We will spend some time doing that. But right now, we are getting into this world and exploring some of the things that we find. So Palai is gone, the other Stitch are gone, but Chikekt is still here. And we do have a kind of relationship with Chikekt. It's a mixed relationship. He probably has a bit of animosity which he represses because we stole his eggs and forced them to leave. But on the other hand, the houses shouldn't be collapsing any longer. So a difficult decision, but I think that people dying is worse than them having lower quality rock. Let's see what Chikekt says. Chikekt's voice warbles and thrums. Egg thief. Give back children is good. So this is the same thing he said before. So it is impassive, but the scent of an ancient inedible fungus fills the air, reminding you of repressed anger. We go soon. So the other Stitcha have left, but I'm not sure what's going to happen with him. So I found a Stitchus in Cliff's Edge. It's hiding in a refuse heap, and the humans want to kill it. Can you help? Gold tide raised again. It looks at you for a long moment, almost as if it can't believe what it just heard. Is weak, outcast, not feed self, burden on broodmates, should be dead. The odor that rises from the Stitchus is dry and musty, the scent of an insect's corpse curled on a windowsill. It's disgusting. So the other Stitchus did tell us that he was exiled, and that's unfortunate. I don't really like that way of doing things, but the humans, some of the humans, Lord Vuntgen, is using this Stitchus to create conflict, so we might be bringing them up. So weak or not, it doesn't deserve to die at the hands of a mob. It's your kin. So we do not have a very good chance. I do have the money to rest now, so I'm going to expend all of my resources on this, and it's only 45%, so I don't know that we're going to be successful. But we were. Lucky us.
Making a note.
So, we had a critical success, and I'm not sure why. Okay, I don't know how these get triggered, but there was no item used or anything like that. So, it says the stat pools that were spent on the effort are restored. So that restores, my understanding from what I'm determining, you know, because this happened last time, and I misunderstood it a little bit. We used intellect, and we would have gone down to 0. We used all of it, because we were going to use 2, and those 2 were restored because of this critical success. So, again, a long moment in which the sticha stares at you. You have the sense that it is evaluating you with eyes that see beyond the human visible spectrum. Human care strange. Why so much for person of sticha? A stray breeze whirls a zephyr of bafflement past your nose. But yes, if human care, Chikekt will care. We'll save. Well, that's good. We'll send broodmates to save Outcast. Alright, well, I believe this is the Outcast Stitches. The deformed Stitches sees you approach, and it grunts and chitters with pleasure. The scent of newly unearthed stone surrounds it. Friendship, it signs. You've survived. How are you now that you've returned to your native habitat? What are you eating down here? Is there anything down here I should know about? Leave the Stitches alone. So what are you eating down here? Beg food, old devices. Drink lightning from them. It points to a tidy pile of Numenera that sits nearby. Looking more closely, you see that they are mostly electrical power sources. Try keep clean. You survived. How are you now that you are in your native habitat? Sticha gone. Broodmates left. Scent marks in tunnel tell keep away. It considers, then huffs out a cloud that smells like sadness. But live for now. So, is there anything down here I should know about? Let's see if he has anything to say. Not see. Try survive. Okay, well, he doesn't have much to say about that. Let's see. We will leave him alone. So now this is where he is, and maybe we'll encounter him again at a later time. So I'm tempted to go speak to Lord Vuntkin now. I don't know what's going to happen when we do, because he wanted to kill, he didn't want this kind of resolution. He had a plan to use this Stitches to continue. Oh, look at it. There's that building from the front in the loading screen. He wanted to use that Stitches, so he's probably not going to be happy about this outcome. But let's see what happens when we talk to him. So this is Lord Vuntkin. He smiles as you approach him again. Welcome back, hero. Have you spotted the Stitches yet? The Stitches escaped. Other Stitches dug a tunnel from below to free it. The Stitches has escaped. I set it free. Can I ask you about the Stitches? And it's kind of, again, tell me about yourself. Who are the slave families? Can you tell me about Cliff's Edge? So I don't know if I want to tell him. I mean, I don't know if I want to tell him that we set it free or that the other Stitches did. But I think I prefer, because I don't want him to have an avenue to blame the Sticha. And so I'm just going to tell him that I set it free. And I know he's not going to be happy about it, but I don't care. His eyes bulge. What? And you dare show your face? You're a traitor to your own kind. If any more houses fall, it will be on your head. This is a tragedy, an outrage. I have half a mind to call the levies. A fantastic opportunity gone. Such a pity. Oh no, poor Lord Vuntkin. So I'm happy that we were able to quash his little plan, and I'm happy that we got to tell him to his face. Now that might come back to bite us later, but we do know the Sticha are no longer digging underneath the city. But he had less than noble intentions. He wanted the conflict with the Sticha to continue.
I remember that.
And with that, did he just say he helped the Stitches? What kind of character arts would let a murdering bug go free? Who will stop the houses from collapsing? I wonder if we can talk to any of these people. Go back to your nest, bug lover. So there's going to be some people that are not happy with what we did. But they have a warped view of the sticha. The sticha are not particularly friendly, and they can be dangerous, but I don't think that they're evil or worth fighting with, and I think that we're going to continue to try to engender a positive relationship with them. All right, so let's go to our character sheet, because that... Oh, she didn't level up yet. Oh, yes, she did. Why isn't there a... Okay, yep, there is an icon. Okay, great.
Of course.
So we still haven't rested. We will do that soon. Because what else was I looking for down here? That's what I wanted to do when I came down here. And then the next thing I want to do, maybe before we rest, is go talk to Prada about the resonance chamber. She was the one who I was thinking for before, and I couldn't recall her name. And see what she has to say about it. She might have something. Ultimately, we're going to probably end up going to the cult, but I want to kind of get some information before we go to them. It might help us. They probably have the most sophisticated information, and the more information we have may help us when we go to them. So, oh, hello. Here to shop or just to chat? She gasps. Or both. So, I'm looking for someone who can repair a complex machine. Can you help? Oh, I'd love to. Complex machines are my favorite. But no, I shouldn't. I'm really behind on work orders this month. This may surprise you, but I am very, very easily distracted. She shrugs beneath her robes. You're better off with someone else. Sorry. Okay, so are you sure you can't help me fix something? Let's try to rope her in a little bit. Quadruple, sure, she says cheerfully. Let's see if she just says that again. Okay, well, let's take a look at her discounted goods. We do have some money. I can't spend more than 30. What are these worth? 79, 53. We can't buy any anyway. So, with that, we are going to head to Caravanserai. And we are going to rest. We'll do it through Government Square.
Yes. Now.
So I believe that this is the clock here. At first, when I saw this guy, I was like, is that the clock? Is it some kind of biological clock? Because it said at the center, but clearly not. Maybe we'll go and see what's happening with that guy too next time we head down there.
Go.
And maybe we should check if we have more secrets, because we do know some stuff. Lord Vuntgen, for instance, with... that might be a good... maybe she'll be interested in that secret. And we can say, hey, this guy is... he's trying to encourage conflict. Because that is a secret I would like to get out. But I don't know if it will present itself or not.
Naturally.
So let's go rest. Speak to Tranquility. So, I'd like a room for the night. Tranquility smiles. Of course. As before, the price is 20 shins per person, and I will give her the money. Thank you, my friend. Rest well. Alright, so we healed. We got our stat pools back. She lost her vapors. We did not level her up, but we will save that for next time. So I'm going to stop here, and we will come back, and we will go and speak to Ayin Who Knows, and see if there's any new secrets that are worth revealing to her, or if we will keep them secrets. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye for now.